All right, hey, this thing is on. Well, this is a first attempt at doing a video podcast or a videocast or a whatever you'd like to call it. This mic that I have in front of me is on the sensitive side, so I'm going to try not to be too loud. For those of you who know me, and for those of you who are just meeting me now, I am Nate the Beard. I call into the Mediocre Show and listen to a lot of podcasts, and fuck, this is going to need to be edited, so there's going to be some editing. Try that again. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Nate. I go by Nate the Beard. I call the Mediocre Show podcast, but if you know me, you already know that. And I'm going to take my second attempt at doing a podcast. I tried a few years back with something that I wanted to call Electronic Wit, or Everything Works in Theory, EWIT. I recorded a few shitty episodes with no video while sitting in front of the television, and sent it out to a few other podcasters to be critiqued, and they were kind, but it sucked, so I didn't feel comfortable putting it out. Now, in the midst of the pandemic, everybody's a podcaster, everybody's a videocaster, everybody's got their own brand. So why not me, right? It's a why not kind of world. Why not? So this is the Beleaguered Beer Leaguer videocast. I'm going to tell a story about beer league. I'm going to talk about hockey. I'm going to talk about hockey products and hope to eventually get sponsored maybe by some hockey products, whether it be sticks or equipment or stick wax or skates, anything. Hey, I'll take it. And if you want to give the show money, I will endorse your product, or at least talk about your product, especially if I use it. And I've been playing hockey for 33 years now. And I still suck at it, but I enjoy it. So I've got a lot of interesting stories from playing in high school to trying to play in college. I did play roller hockey in college. Believe it or not, I was a collegiate athlete at the club level when they can't turn you away. I played roller hockey and I played one season of rugby. And mad respect for rugby. After my first game, I wanted to be put in a body cast and left to die. But it was a lot of fun for an out-of-shape, drunk college kid. At least until the pain set in. So, this podcast is going to be about hockey. This podcast is going to be about me being another persona, the miserable man, and my job woes. As of right now, I have been unemployed since August. I was let go from my job, which was a blessing in disguise because, quite frankly, the job sucked. And it wasn't worth the aggravation. It was aging me badly. It was more stress than was worth any paycheck. And it wasn't that great a paycheck, so it was a blessing in disguise to be fired. Or it was just fucking perfect kismet to be fired because I couldn't quit. Being fired was my only way out because I wasn't finding another job. The job market sucks right now, if you didn't already know. And my career over the past 23 plus years has been unique. My mother was convinced that I'd have one job just like her for my entire professional career, and that would be it. That's not the way the world works. I've bounced around a bit, sometimes by choice, sometimes not. And it is what it is, which is a bullshit saying, but it's the truth. It is what it is. You can get lucky and make a career of it, or you can just get fucked constantly by no fault of your own. And sure, there are plenty of things that have been fault of my own. I'm the miserable man. I'm not a peach. I'm not your favorite person to deal with sometimes because I have no patience for bullshit. I work in an accounting world. I work in a realm where the facts matter, and they don't lie unless you make them lie, and then anybody with half a brain can see you're lying. I've worked with doctors who were brilliant but couldn't do math. Meanwhile, they could prescribe medication to someone and potentially kill them because they can't do math. But whatever, I digress. So, this is going to consist of basically probably some product reviews, like what I have in my bag. And I've got shoulder pads for today. They're over here on my right. You can see some of them sticking up. I'm going to go through the shoulder pads I have right now, maybe tell a story or two. I'm going to talk about Beer League, because Beer League is my life. That's why I'm the Beleaguered Beer Leaguer. On top of being the miserable man, on top of being Nate the Beard, I wear a lot of hats, and I do need to wear a lot of hats because you can see in this terrible lighting my extremely bald head. Male pattern baldness, good time. If I had the money to fight it, I still wouldn't do it because it'll look like shit. So, on top of Beer League, I may talk about the NHL a bit. I'm a Flyers fan because I'm from South Jersey and I grew up with the Flyers. My love for hockey started slowly in 1985 and came to its peak in 1987 when the Flyers made another run to the Stanley Cup Final and lost to Edmonton. Fuck you guys. Greatest team in the world. Fuck, why do we have to play them twice? There are some friends of mine on Twitter who are also hockey fans of different teams. I may talk some shit to you. Who knows? Hopefully you'll end up watching my podcast / videocast. I might tell a few stories about work. And I'm definitely going to talk about social media. Because what's life without social media to nowadays? A few people that I follow. A few people that I don't understand why I follow them. And a few people you should follow, or my recommendations. And of course, I'd like to call it a follow, a fuck up, and a funny story. So that's going to be a segment. Maybe I'll have a graphic at some point. I did think about writing down on a piece of paper and flashing it up in front of the camera going, a follow, a fuck up, and a funny story. It is what it is. So, Beer League. I'm on 2 teams. I used to be on 4 teams. And, while you're not working, hockey gets expensive. And when you are working, hockey gets expensive. And with COVID and the pandemic, turnout has been difficult. There are some people who won't go near the rink until they get the vaccination. There are other people who insist that they play in a mask. And you're already huffing and puffing even if you're in good shape. So playing in a mask, I don't know how people do it, but I've seen some people do it. More power to them. I have decided to not play in a mask and social distance as best I can. As hypocritical as it sounds, I'm taking that risk because I need the exercise. And if I get COVID, I get COVID. I could get COVID being the most safe and secure person on the planet. This is not a political statement. I'm not interested in politics. The 3 things that I will not talk about on this podcast unless prompted to are religion, politics, and money. And the only thing I'll say about money is I'm poor. No matter how much money I make, I'll always be poor. That's just the way it is. Whether it's about richness in life or richness in my bank account, I'm always going to be poor. There's never going to be enough, despite whatever I try. So, once you come to that realization, you can live a happy life. But that's a whole nother story. That might be a whole nother podcast. So, I'm trying to keep this to 4 segments. I'm going to try to keep this to a half an hour unless I ramble. Making 30 minutes of content is difficult. Making 10 minutes of content is difficult. So, I'm shooting for the moon with 30. But let's talk about what's in my bag. So, right now, I'm wearing these Eagle shoulder pads, and I have to get up and make for bad television. Look. These are Eagles, a company that's gone under, but it still exists because I'm convinced that Vaughn, a goaltending company that makes goalie gear, bought everybody whose name they liked and then decided to keep them in distribution. So, these are lightweight. These are considered quote-unquote pro stock. I got these from Pro Stock Hockey. They are definitely one of the follows that I would recommend, and I'm going to throw a link to them if you're a hockey fan and you don't already know about them. Pro Stock Hockey is a company out of Illinois, I believe they're in. They buy from all the pro teams and some minor league teams, and they get a lot of overstock gear. And pro gear is always nicer than the gear that you can buy at retail. It always will be. It's just made for the pros, obviously, so it's an elite level of gear or a different quality level than the stuff that they get. As I adjust my chair, make for more bad video. But these are relatively lightweight. They had a panel on the back that I cut off I can't imagine it's for spinal protection. It was particularly thin. It didn't do much. These are larges, I believe. They're getting a little snug as I'm getting a little fat. But this is all you need for Beer League, unless you're planning on blocking shots, you have bad shoulders, or by some miracle you're still in a contact league. Or if you're a young kid watching this and you are in a contact league, it's bad video. and you are in a contact league, these are pretty minimal. They're comfortable for a stick handler. They're comfortable for someone who likes to have a little bit of agility. But this is a foam cap. There might be some hard plastic in here, but it's nothing major. You want to see hard plastic, that'll probably be the last pair I show you. But they work for me. They're lightweight. They're not restrictive. They still got a lace up front. They're connected in the back, and they do the trick, especially for beer league. I mean, this is enough protection unless you're blocking shots, or you're an overachiever and you think you're going to bump somebody. Now, this is what I was wearing before I bought the Eagles. This is STX, or Sticks. They're a lacrosse company. They started as a lacrosse company, and then they branched into hockey. There's a lot of transfer over in that. If you're a fan of hockey and hockey gear, you know that a lot of lacrosse companies like Warrior and STX made their way into hockey because it's a similar clientele and similar gear, So why not branch out? Why not expand lines? Why not make more money, right? So these, if I remember right, are right up front, so you can see. This is the Stallion line, and I think this is the second generation of the Stallion line. And I like these, but there's just some things about them that I didn't like. So this is a little bulkier. This has this molded chest piece, which, of course, is good for protecting your chest, your breastplate. Not so much your collarbone, but it can sneak up there. And there was an incident years and years ago, I believe in junior hockey, or maybe in one of the European leagues, where a gentleman got speared intentionally, unfortunately, straight in the middle of his chest and was killed. So the rage became, and Hespeler was one of the first companies that did this, and Hespeler is no longer in existence. At least I don't think they are. That they started to be more sensitive about, as gear changed, protecting your heart, protecting the middle of your chest. They actually had a heart pad. If you look up the old gear on Google, Hespeler had like a specific panel there to protect your chest. And it was an unfortunate incident where the guy got killed, and then the gentleman who speared him in the heat of the moment did it, but obviously did not mean to intend or have any intention of killing the guy. But there became a craze to protect your chest, so which is a good thing. I mean, if you're a big hockey fan and you remember when Chris Pronger got hit in the middle of the chest by an errant puck, and he collapsed. So there was a concern that there was some sort of incident like that where maybe his heart stopped, and it may have stopped for a second, but being an elite athlete, he lucked out, and he was fine. It was scary as hell, I'm sure, but you should protect your chest to a point. But that's all personal preference. These are not endorsements by me. I get no money from these companies. I would love to get money from these companies, but I don't. This is just personal preference. I wore these for a while. I got them at a good price because the new line was coming out. Side story, a long time ago, I wanted to start a retail business that was just top-of-the-line gear, because top-of-the-line gear changes every year, every season, no matter what. Sometimes the changes are minor, but the top-of-the-line gear is supposed to be the best stuff, right? So that's all I wanted to carry, the top-of-the-line stuff. And someone who I was actually interviewing with when I was in college said, that'll never work, because people want to buy entry-level stuff. People don't want to go in at the highest level. Now, elite athletes might want to, or well-to-do participants might want to, because they think there's a value in having top of the line. And there is, to a point, but sometimes you just need entry-level stuff, and what it depends. You don't need the best shoulder pads to play in beer league. You do need good skates. I recommend you have good gloves. Certainly get a decent helmet, because your head is your head, and you need to protect it no matter what. If you're brave and you're allowed to not wear any face protection, that's on you. I'd rather keep my eyes, but funny story, I played without face protection for a long time as a badge of honor, because I was 18 and I was an adult. I could get away with no facial protection, so I did play without facial protection for a long time. And then, you can't see it because of my beard, but I busted my face open for 40 stitches. All in my lip. My lip was split apart. I could see my teeth without smiling. My top lip. My bottom lip was cut for another 10 stitches. So 30 up top, 10 down below. A nice scar. And a funny story, I could say, all right, I got in a fight and the guy got a good shot in. No, I tipped a puck up into my own face. and bled all over the place. And when the EMTs came, because I had just moved to the area and I didn't know where the closest hospital was, so I called an ambulance. And they took me to the emergency room. The EMT said, "Oh, do you have the piece?" And I said, "Piece of what?" "A piece of your lip. If it's out on the ice, we can actually save it." "No, dude, that's gone." Okay, my lip was torn in two spots. And luckily put back together. The on-call plastic surgeon was the most miserable man I ever saw in my life, and I am the miserable man, so he was pissed to be working on a Sunday night. So back to the point, STX, lacrosse company, branched out into hockey. These are a lot beefier than the Eagles. I mean, you can see the centerpieces there. There's a piece on the back. I don't like these because this piece is awkward a little bit, and there's no lace up front. There's a separation inside here that's got a little bit of cloth for protection or comfort, so to speak. But these were just not doing it for me. I don't know if it was the bulk level, because they wanted to offer protection, and these are protective. If you really wanted to hit in these, you could. I mean, the real hitting pads I'll show you last, as I had mentioned, but these did the trick, and they were a decent price. And STX is actually a really nice company. You know, they've been in the lacrosse game for a long time, and I don't understand lacrosse gear even a little. I don't know what the hell it protects, and those guys just whack the piss out of each other. But, you know, here, STX, not a bad shoulder pad whatsoever. Now we're going to get into the funky stuff. These are Vibero, who's a company owned by former NHLer Andy Sutton, who was nice enough to actually email me when these were delayed in arriving because I was getting pissed off. And I'm like, "Hey man, I ordered these months ago, or at least a while ago, and what's the story? You know, I don't need them, but I want an update." So these are Viberos, and these are extremely protective. There's actually another piece. This is all breakaway, and this is this square sort of also lacrosse protective system. This used to be a company called Pharrell, and then I believe Vibero bought them, or at least bought their patterns. So Pharrell made elbow pads, shoulder pads like this. I think a wrist guard that were all this sort of square impact foam. This is a Velcro up front. There are some side adjustments if you want them. There are plastic inserts for protection all over the place. If you want them, you can take them off. This is all breakaway, so if you were to be in a fight and somebody grabbed you, most of this would come free, so you're not being restricted by your gear. This is sort of a vest system, and there were a few other shoulder pad lines that were like this, where it was a front closure. I have not worn these in a game yet. I haven't. I love gear, and I buy gear constantly, even when I shouldn't and I can't afford it. But these are very different. These are very non-traditional, and this is very form-fitted, almost shirt-like. You can adjust at the biceps as well. You can take these protective pieces off. You can make a lot of adjustments with these. I skate with a guy who wears basically just this vest with no other protection. He doesn't get into a lot of contact. He's extremely comfortable. He's a very good player, good stick handler. This is what he's comfortable with. He's not looking for contact. Somebody's looking to be protected because you obviously need some protection. These are not cheap. Vibero is a very innovative company and trying to revolutionize hockey gear, and I applaud them for it. If they would like to sponsor me, that would be great. I'm interested in getting their gloves. I'm a glove whore. That's a whole nother episode. That's maybe the next episode. Either way, these Viberos are definitely for contact. I mean, these are solid plastic pads. They have a little bit of foam coating over the top of them. They're placed in the right spot for hitting. There's actually another piece that goes under these for a little bit of added protection, but I took them out. These are extremely lightweight. I wouldn't call them bulky, but they definitely move with you. It's almost designed to fit like a shirt. So, although it's more of a vest because it's a front closure. But if your kid wanted these to play, these are high contact. These are lightweight. It's a little restrictive depending on your fit, but in all honesty, this would be a pad for hitting because it's got real caps, it's got real protection, it's form fitted. So, like I've been saying, it definitely is something that would protect a player who's in a contact league. Now for beer league, probably overkill. And the next set I'm going to show you are beyond overkill for beer league because these are the pads that I wore in high school. I didn't wear this version, but I had a similar version by Louisville, who is no longer in hockey as well and is known for Louisville Slugger for baseball, wooden bats and gloves. Not wooden gloves, gloves. All these Presto changes might be edited out, or they might be in the bloopers. Now these are what every high school kid wanted when I played high school hockey. Because these MFers, these motherfuckers were for hitting. These motherfuckers were for serious contact hockey. This is what the pros were. These were the shit, and they weigh a ton. And if you think they look like football pads, it's because they are. They're essentially football pads. Donzie and Easton were making these for football. And this setup actually had a set of rib pads to make it almost a flak jacket that I cut off. And I have played in these. These are great, but these are pointless. I mean, these are for trying to kill somebody. I mean, this is for putting this piece of plastic on somebody's chin and knocking them out, or for running full steam at somebody and just giving them every ounce that you've got to try to ruin their day. Separate them from the puck, separate them from reality if you hit them right. These fuckers are for hitting, and I love them. They are great, and they were great for hitting. I had the Louisville pair, which was similar to Douglas. Douglas was another still in football shoulder pad company that made for hockey and just basically took their quarterback pads and converted them and called them hockey shoulder pads. And if you read the disclaimer sticker on the back, that no protective equipment will eliminate all injury because things are a contact sport, it said football. It made no mention of hockey. Well, Louisville bought the rights to use Douglas, and Douglas was another company. You can Google them online. Every once in a while, you can still see a pair on eBay. I think I found these on eBay. eBay was great. I was a little bit of dust there. I was a classic gear collector for a while until my separation and then selling my house, and I needed to get rid of a bunch of junk that I wasn't using. So I had pairs and pairs and pairs of Cooper and some other old school protective gear. The old school stuff before the NHL was concerned about concussion. Plastic caps, hard plastic caps. No foam, nothing. These are for hitting. Heavy foam underneath to protect you. Hard plastic on top to get the other guy and deliver a hit. I love these things. These things are great. I have played pickup games in these. I've played league games in these. They just make you want to hit. They make you feel invincible. A teammate, I actually hurt my shoulder a few years ago, and it was an AC joint sprain. And I went to a sports medicine doc, and I was her first shoulder, and she said, this is probably a grade 2 sprain, which is not serious enough for surgery, but definitely serious. And when you go back to it's something that happens a lot in contact sports. And truth be told, I did throw my shoulder at a guy to protect myself on my way to the net. He's defending. I was attacking. One of the few times I was playing forward. I'm really not a forward because I'm whatever. That's a whole nother story. I love playing forward, but I'm not a good one. So going to the net, took a shot, went to protect myself because I knew I was going to get hit. Laid his shoulder into the guy. It's kind of a irresistible force meets the immovable object. We just kind of hit and didn't go anywhere. Hours later at the bar, my shoulder was killing me. The next day when I got up for work, I could barely move my arm. So at the time I was working for a health system, I got lucky enough to go to the sports medicine doc same day. I was her first shoulder, and she said to me, this is a grade 2 sprain, blah, 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 blah. When you go back to playing hockey, you should wear something a little more protective. And I had these. Long story short, I put these on, and one of my teammates said to me, you look like Optimus Prime. Like, what the fuck are those? I'm like, these are old school hitting pads, and I'm protecting my shoulder. Shoulder's fine now, for the most part. I don't wear these for protection. I also don't try to throw a lot of hits, because I play in a non-contact beer league. Non-contact. Read into that all you want. There's still plenty of accidental place for the puck contact, but no one is literally trying to hit each other. If it were a hitting league, 90% of the guys playing in that league would get injured because nobody knows how to hit. Unless you've played hitting hockey, contact hockey, you don't know how to hit. You can watch a lot of videos, and you can watch your game and think you watch your teams and watch the game and think you know what you're doing. Until you have to do it, you have no idea how to hit. And you can practice it, sure, but until you're in the situation, you don't know how to hit. You think you do, you don't. There's a science to it. There's a science to doing it safely, so that it's part of the game and you're not injuring anyone or yourself. And there's still going to be injuries in contact sports no matter what. So these motherfuckers were for as much protection as you could get, and I love them. And I'm never parting with them. I got them. I found them. I got lucky. They were relatively inexpensive. Guy didn't know what he had, because these are collector's items, because you can't get these anymore. You can't skate around in these bad boys anymore, because I mean that's just all for hitting. And these are the quote unquote defenseman caps. These are big caps for hitting. Forward version of these is more like a quarterback pad, and the shoulder caps are a lot smaller. But they're still lethal. They're still hard plastic, and they're still definitely for hitting. When I had my old Louisville pair, a good friend of mine who I used to play hockey with and still want to play hockey with when everything goes back to normal, he had to buy a pair to protect his shoulder. He had actually broken his collarbone and decided to get a super protective pair, and seen me wearing them and got them. Wore them for one game and sold them. He actually had a Douglas pair, a really nice pair. And he was like, how the fuck do you play in these things? I mean, they are brutal. I can't even lift my arms. It takes some getting used to, truth be told. But they are the shit. I mean, they are hitting pads. I love these things. So that's what's in my bag. Shoulder pad wise. Gloves is going to be a good time. Maybe we'll do that next. So, a follow, a fuck up, and a funny story. Follow The Mediocre Show. If you know me, you're probably here from The Mediocre Show. A friend of mine from there, or a friend of mine from hockey. But The Mediocre Show is a podcast that my friend Eric Tomorrow does. He's had several co-hosts over the years. His current co-hosts, Work Frank and Pat, are hilarious. Down-to-earth guys, good guys, real human beings. Yes, they've got a brand, and Eric's brand is The Mediocre Show, among other things that he does. But it's a pop culture, real life, funny story, reactionary to the world podcast that I've been listening to for a long time. He's been doing it since, I want to say, 2006. So a long time. Still funny, always relevant, just down-to-earth dudes who have no agenda other than comedy, other than being, the guys that you drink beer with that are your friends, that they're your friends for life because they're good guys. And I hope for a tiny shout out, maybe, but that's obviously not necessary. This is a fledgling thing that I don't know if we're going to get any traction out of, but we're going to try it because I've got nothing but free time. I'm not working, and I'm actively looking for a job. It's not like I'm a bum. We'll get that out of the way right now. My forehead might be shiny and I may be disheveled looking, but I'm not a bum. I am not allergic to hard work, and I'm trying to find a job daily, hours on end, scouring the internet. So, enough of my sob story for 5 seconds, but they are definitely one of my follows. Another podcast I'd recommend you following is Last Podcast on the Left, which is extremely popular if you're a fan of true crime, the paranormal, and just some horror movies, the general wackiness. A friend of mine got me into them, and they are funny. They're funny as shit. They're on Spotify now, exclusively. The three hosts are comedians / actors / writers who have their own very distinct personalities that mesh so well. It's a good listen. It's if you're into true crime or the paranormal or some other social issues, and they all have varying podcasts about their interest as well. It's a good follow. It's well known. Give it a try. Definitely another follow. Save my follows for future episodes, obviously. But those are two biggies. Those are the two podcasts that I listen to exclusively, no matter what. They come out. I listen to them. I listen to a lot of hockey podcasts. So we can get that down the road. Fuck ups. Well, there are a lot of fuck ups on YouTube. So here I am joining your ranks. And I don't know if I want to get too specifically into identifying them per se right now, but let's just say that the fitness industry is so dominant on YouTube with fuck ups. And there are actually review channels that I'll throw in another follow. Shredded Sports Science on YouTube, and I'll link all this stuff in the description. English gentleman, hilarious, science-backed, definitely trying to educate and be humorous at the same time. Down to earth, no bullshit, no agenda other than the truth and the facts, and trying to promote health and doing it in a hilarious way. If you take the piss out of English humor, so to speak, he's definitely a podcast you should follow. But the fitness industry on YouTube is full of fuck ups, and I don't even want to label some specifics. If you look me up on any social media, on Instagram, I have my personal Instagram, and I have an Instagram for this podcast. I don't follow any fitness influencers on my podcast Instagram, but there's a few out there. They're selling you bullshit. They're selling you a program because somebody sponsors them. They're selling you a supplement you don't need. It's a lot of bullshit, but it's lucrative, so I understand why people do it. One gentleman mentions more spews for more views, and he covers a lot of crap. Some of you, if you've heard that, you might know who I'm referring to, Greg Doucette, who I would say is another follow, Coach Greg, on YouTube as well, and he's on a lot of other platforms, and he's got a very expensive cookbook. But he's one of the few honest people. There's a lot of charlatans and bullshit artists and scam artists on there, and some people who are just trying to take you through their journey. And I get it. Everybody's got a journey. But the fitness journey, whether it be on Instagram or others, there's so many people who are full of shit. And there's so many people who are trying to fucking sell you something. And it's crap. It's not crap that you need. At the heaviest in my life, I was 290 pounds, which is garbage for how tall I am. And I just sort of went on my own fitness journey, and I documented it all on my Instagram, and I got down to 195 pounds. I put weight back on since COVID, through no fault of anybody's but my own. And I really didn't follow any fitness influencers. I just got into it and did it, and I was motivated. And at the time, it was my distraction from all the things that were pissing me off. So it was nice escapism, especially when I was getting results. Look at a lot of different sources. Follow people who are interesting, but know that a lot of them are full of shit. Know that a lot of people out there in the fitness realm, especially on YouTube, are just trying to convince you of some crap. So you'll buy their product, or you'll buy something, or you'll buy their program, or someone is sponsoring them and they're just shilling for that group. It's $1 billion industry. I'd love to get into it, and I actually had an idea to get into it that I've shared with a few people, and I'm not sharing on here because I'm not giving away all of my great ideas. What's the fucking point? Got to keep some stuff to myself. But the fitness industry on YouTube, I'll throw out one person. Shiva Shiz. Okay? Beautiful girl. Nose job, fake tits, still a beautiful girl. It's all about her journey. It's all about her hashtag. It's all about this. It's all about that. Yes, she's a real person. I feel like she's full of shit. I follow her on YouTube because she's pretty with hot fake tits, and she's got an amazing body that she's worked really hard for. But there's still a level of bullshit to her stuff. She's sponsored, so she pushes her sponsors. She pushes the stuff that she takes that's sponsored, so I don't know if she's paying for it or not. She's got some workout videos that push a program. What works for her is not guaranteed to work for you. You need to experiment on your own. You need to pick the things that work for you and just do them. Unless they're super detrimental and you're destroying your body, anything is better than nothing, even if it's just walking the dogs for half an hour every day. It's a good place to start, and you can build from there and your level of interest and so on and so forth. But there's a lot of shitty people out there, as well as some good people. And I wouldn't even call her a shitty person, but I think she's full of shit. Because she's pushing an agenda, and she's pushing oh, this is me, the realist me you can see. Okay, well, if you're the realist you that you can be, why did you get a nose job? Why do you have fake tits? How how real are those things? You changed who you were to be happy. Totally get that, but that's augmentation. That's change. It's not really who you are. So yes, I'm going to stare at you through the top of my glasses and be judgmental for 5 seconds. I'm not perfect, so quite frankly, fuck me. I don't know anything. But I'm going to single her out just because there's something about her besides being attractive, and she does have an inspirational message if you choose to follow her inspiration. So there is that, but I feel like it's candy coated in a lot of bullshit as well. And follows, fuck ups, and a funny story. So I used to torture the guy who ran the one league that I played in because he played on my team. And if you fought in that league, you got suspended. And I used to tell him at the start of every season, I'm going to fight. I'm getting my game off. It's coming. I'm going to fight somebody. These guys are such fucking assholes and such hacks. I'm going to fight these guys. So we're playing a team, and the center that I'm facing off against is constantly trying to stick me in the nuts after every face-off that we're out there against each other. And by the third period, I've had enough. You know, he's not even interested in getting the puck. He's trying to go forward in a face-off and not worry about the puck and just interfere with me so someone else can come in and scoop up the puck. And every time he's doing it, he's trying to stick me in the nuts. So after I had had enough of it and we were in a comfortable position with the score where we're winning, I told the guy, I said, you stick me in the nuts one more time, I'm going to punch your fucking lights out. Okay, dude? Play the puck. And he just looks at me, whatever, man. I'm like, no, not whatever. This is your free warning. If you try to stick me in the nuts again, I'm going to fucking punch your lights out. I'm done. Yeah, whatever. Okay. Next face off, sticks me in the nuts. I said, fine, you're done. We get another face off after that. He goes forward. He tries to stick me in the nuts. I basically just drop my stick, grab his jersey. With one hand, I pop off his helmet. And with the other hand, straight to the face. Crumbles like a fucking sack of potatoes. Lays on the fucking ice. I get my penalty. His wife, whoever, fans in the stands, all three of them, four of them, start screaming at me. Fuck you. I told this motherfucker, I'm punching you in the face if you keep trying to stick me in the nuts. And I did. And because the guy who ran the league was on my team, said, well, it's not really a fight. I don't have to suspend you. I'm like, I'll take the fucking suspension. The guy got what he deserved. He didn't want to listen. He kept sticking me in the balls. So I punched him. Fuck it. It's hockey, right? You know, I get that it's emotional and it's a contact sport. When you keep doing cheap shit, it's coming your way. So, you know, one perfect sweep, and getting a helmet off is hard. If you've ever fought in hockey, getting somebody's helmet off can be hard. Especially in beer leagues where everybody's wearing a cage or a half shield or something. You know, your helmet needs to stay on your head anyway. It's pointless if it's loose. But yeah, I popped that fucker off with one clean sweep. And I punched him square in the face. And that was the end of it. But I loved it. It's one of my favorite fucking stories about hockey. So, I'm over half an hour. I'm going to edit the piss out of this and put it out there. I appreciate you if you have tuned in. This is going to be on YouTube, so I appreciate any comments below. I'm going to hashtag the shit out of this, so maybe I get some follows. And who knows when I'll record the next one, but I will definitely record the next one. I want this to be an enjoyable thing that maybe I can have my own brand. Who knows? And maybe get some sponsors. Who knows? If nothing else, kill some time in the monotony of a pandemic and a job search. Two things that really suck. So, I am a man of many hats, Nate the Beard, the Beleaguered Beer Leaguer, and the Miserable Man, all wrapped up into one. I would normally share a work story, but I'm already at a half an hour of content easily, so maybe we'll share a work story for the next time. The work stories are what make me the miserable man. You know what? I'll throw in a real quick one. At my last job, when we went to remote work because COVID was in full swing, and I knew my days were numbered, I was on the phone with my boss having a conversation about something, and that wasn't getting done. And I said, look, You can yell at the barn all you want. The horses are gone. Okay, this is not an issue that we can address right now. And I said it sarcastically because it's a sarcastic statement, but it's the truth. To which, in her very thick Jamaican accent, returned, "That's not very funny." To which I said, "I don't give a shit if it's funny. It's the truth. You're wasting your fucking time. Okay, you could scream at the barn all day. Horses are gone. Still not funny. Okay. Well, not here to be funny. You're certainly not paying me to be funny. Because if you're paying me to be funny, you're paying me like shit." And that was the end of the conversation. I said, "I have stuff to do. I'll call you back when this is done." And that was towards the beginning of the end. So I knew my days were numbered. And not long after that when I got fired. But it's the truth. Sometimes you just have to be willing to tell your boss, look, there's no fucking point to this, but you want to hammer it home for X. You like the sound of your own voice. Sure, you can yell at the barn all day. The horses are gone. Bye-bye. So, thank you for your time. As my buddy Frank would say, thank you for your consideration. Stealing that from you, Frank. Hope you're watching. I am the Miserable Man and the Beleaguered Beer Leaguer and Nate the Beard, signing out. See you in episode 2.